All right, so in this video, I'm going to explain everything to do with stat cubes and the random stat percentages, these things right here on every single unit. For the stat potential, so for example, mine has B, B+, A- on this unit specifically. But I'm going to explain everything that you need to know about it, how it works, and if it's worth doing. Now, the first thing is, what is stat potential? So stat potential has always been in the game. For example, I have two Tatsumos that are the exact same unit, exact same level, nothing else is different. They don't have any curses, basically the exact same unit. But they do have different stat bases. As you can see, this Tatsumo has 2418, this one has 2482. So this one is better on damage, it has 0.1 less cooldown, and has 0.1 more range. So even though they're the exact same unit, one is better than the other, and this has always been in the game. But now you can actually visualize it with the stat potential. So as you can see, this one is B+, B+, B, and this one is B, 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 doesn't have the pluses. And these can go all the way up to SSS, and I actually have a unit that has SS on it. Yamo has an SS range. Too bad the unit is bad. But it can go all the way up to SSS, which is absolutely insane. And if you want to see what those ratings actually are, if you talk to Beerus and press reroll potential, you can put any unit in here to see what their potentials are. So, as you can see, the SS is a 9.9% chance. And the maximum range buff you could have is a 10%. Same with cooldown is a 10%. And then damage goes up to 20%. That is the maximum stats you can get. And of course, you have some units that have like really low potentials. Like as you can see, this is a C rating, so it's negative 4.8. So it's very, very low. But that is essentially what stat potential is. It's always been in the game, but now it's visualized with a rating and the ability to actually change that. And how you actually change it is you have to get talk to Beerus, and if you put a unit in, for example, we'll do like Ichigo, you can re-roll the stats either with a perfect stat cube, which I'll explain how to get these in a moment, but the perfect stat cube can only re-roll one stat, which is very good, especially if two of them are very high. And then the stat cubes, these right here, re-rolls all three of them, so you do have a chance to get a bad one. There's also worthiness, which I'll get into in a second, but there are three different ways to get stat cubes. The first way is by evolving units. I evolved a unit and got, I think it's a guaranteed chance. You get 3 stat cubes and 1 perfect stat cube. And as you can see, there is a limit to how many you can hold, so don't like hoard these too much or you might end up filling up. The second way is by going to the Infinity Castle, and you can actually get 1 perfect stat cube at room 75 and 3 normal stat cubes at room 40. These will probably stay in here, to be honest. And the third way is by going over to the challenge area, and by doing the daily challenge. I don't know if it's guaranteed, but people have gotten stat cubes from running this daily thing. You also get star remnants, which is also pretty nice. I never really run this though, but it is worth running if you want to get free stat cubes and also star remnants. But that's how you actually get those. And now I want to go ahead and let's talk about worthiness. So the worthiness increases the odds to get a good stat reroll whenever you use one of these items. And you gain them by getting kills on the unit inside of rounds. And it does reset, by the way, whenever you do a roll. So make sure to go to 100% if you're actually going to go for a percentage. As you can see, I have 100% on my Ichigo, but I only have 82% on my Aizen. Mainly because I AFK'd with my Ichigo, so you do need quite a bit of kills, because I did farm up enough kills to get an evolution unit and do all of the story modes for the new map, and I still didn't get 100%, so it does take a lot of kills to get 100% on the roll. But I want to go ahead, let's put Ichigo in here with his 100% worthiness, and I want to do a reroll all. I want to save this one for my Aizen, for a specific, like, I'm guessing a cooldown roll, and I want to see what I get. Here's my default stats right now, which I'll just go ahead and write down. And here is my percentage chances, B, B+, A-. Let's go ahead and roll all, and I want to see if we end up making the unit stronger with 100% worthiness. So this is the highest you can get and it affects the outcome. So hopefully we get something good. Hey, not bad. As you can see, it reset the worthiness, but we went from 3.6 up to 14.2. Went from 4.5 on the cooldown to 6.9, and we gained 0.6 more range. Let's compare it to the base damage. Let's see. Oh my gosh, look at that. So we went down by 0.2 on the cooldown, went up by 0.1 range, and the damage shot up by a ton. Oh my gosh. It literally went up by 1.6 thousand damage on placement. That is amazing. I'm curious what DPS is. We'll look at that in a second. But that is definitely worth doing, especially since my original numbers weren't that high. Like, I might try the same thing on my Aizen, but, like, those stats are already incredibly high. Look at that. 10.2, 6.6, 5.8. I mean, I'll still try it. But that's already pretty impressive, to be honest. It's an A rank. So, yeah, that is definitely worth it. I don't know how worth it is for, like, rolling it on other units like this with, like, super high stats. I would not say it's worth it because the chance of you getting something better is very slim. You'll probably end up losing out. But overall, this one isn't too bad on his stats. But before we go ahead and look at the new DPS on the Ichigo, I did have its DPS written down. There is one more thing I want to show you, and that is the Wish Girl. Essentially what this unit is that you can transfer the stat potential from one unit to the other, but it does delete one of the units. So for example, we can put in like Greed, which has these stats, and we could replace it with, I don't know what has good stats. Let's just do this unit. And replace it with these stats. But there's only a 50% chance for this to succeed. And it will always lose this unit. So whatever unit you put here will be deleted. And there's only a 50% chance for the stats to transfer over to the new unit. So it is kind of risky. It would be interesting to do something like this where I like bring over my Aizen and put the Yamo into it, which has the SS rank range on it. But I'm not going to do it because that 50% is incredibly high odds to lose the unit. So I'm not going to do this personally, but it is an option if you do get a hold of like a really, really good unit that you're not going to use. You can move it over to like one of your uniques or something. But if you don't have a unique, I wouldn't recommend doing it. I don't even think it's that big of an upgrade to be worth losing a unit like that. But let's go see how strong my Ichigo is now with his new role. Okay, there we go. Maxed out the money. So let's go ahead and see what the maximum damage after rolling a better stat potential. It's the exact same unit, but as if I rolled it as a better default unit. So let's see if I just go ahead and spam all the upgrades. Damage is already looking quite high. Range looks about the same. Cooldown looks about the same. But the damage definitely looks a little bit higher. I think that's the last upgrade there too. So let's see. 202,000 damage. Divided by 5.1. That cooldown is definitely lower than what it was. 39.6 thousand DPS. Okay. That is definitely higher. Oh god. That's 5,000 damage per second more just for doing that. Yeah, the DPS literally went up by 4.8 thousand because of that stat potential. So that was definitely worth doing. That increased my damage per second by a ton on that one unit. That makes me kind of excited to try to do it on Aizen, but on like a specific stat. I don't know. That was definitely worth it. The new stat potentials thing in the game is pretty cool. It's another thing to grind though. You don't need to do it. That 5,000 damage is pretty insane. It's mainly probably because it's unique, to be honest. If I did it on non-unique, I don't think the increase would be that insane. I am curious though, is this any higher than it normally is? Is the Moonless Sky? The Moonless Sky looks about the same. I don't think that goes any higher, to be honest. But yeah, that is definitely worth it. I would wait to get 100% worthiness though if you're going to do big rolls on units that already has very good stats, because you don't want to end up re-rolling and getting a bunch of negatives. That would be so bad. But yeah, let me know in the comments, what do you think of the new stat potentials? And if you have any other questions, let me know. I'm pretty sure I went over everything to do with this though. But I'm kind of excited about it because now you don't necessarily need to keep rolling like the same unit like 20 times to find one with a really good base stats. Now you just gotta find one with decent stats and just keep re-rolling until you get a really good one.